Here we go. Welcome everybody back to CWK Live every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Dan Zare, thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. It's good to see all of you here on the show. Turn down the brightness here a little bit. Yeah, that's good. Let's do that. All right, well, hello everybody. Good to see you all. Let's welcome our friends to the show. Terry's here. Hello, Terry. Good to see you, my friend. Mary is here, too. Happy Mando and Bad Batch Eve. Hello, Mary. Great to see you, as always. We've got Jason and Henrik Mock here. Hello, fellas. Good to see you both. And Blake is here, too. Blake, hello, CWK fam. Hello, Blake. Blake did a great job with Mason and I on the Bad Batch conversation this week on Coffee with Kenobi. Darren is here to join us. Hello, Darren. Good to see you, buddy. And Ross is here. Hello, Ross. Good to see you, pal. We've got a fun show for you tonight. Last week was the start of these multifaceted episodes of CWK Live because we're going to be looking at two Star Wars episodes and two separate top fives. First, we've got your top 5 moments from the Bad Batch, the Outpost. And then the Mandalorian second episode, The Mines of Mandalore. Plus, we've got some Star Wars news and your comments and questions. Versus great job, Blake and Mason. Great show. Yes, absolutely. They did a wonderful, wonderful job. Let's go ahead and take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week.
And now, let's see what's brewing in the Star Wars universe this week.
Thank you, Tom Kane. Yes, let's see what's brewing in the world of Star Wars this week. So we've got some cool stuff. We've got the panels announced for Star Wars Celebration. I'm going to try to, let's see if I can make this work. I'm going to show you what I see on my browser. And we're going to look at this together. So what do we have? The Star Wars Celebration Europe 2023 panel schedule was announced. And you've got a lot of news here. What have you got? You've got the official celebration schedule featuring the Galaxy and Twin Sun stages, longtime veterans of this particular Star Wars convention, Star Wars Celebration, the greatest one that there ever was. Honestly, Star Wars Celebration is the best. And here are some of the main things that we've got here. We've got news on your live stream host. So yes, despite what you may or may not have heard, there is going to be a live stream. You got Anthony Carboni, Christina Ariel, Kristen Baver, and Jamie Stangroom are all going to be hosting. We've got celebrity guests, interviews, all kinds of great stuff that I know so many of you absolutely love. You've got the celebration stage in the actual auditorium itself. You got the Galaxy stage, the Twin Sun stage. Now there's a couple of major panels, and we'll probably try to break these more formally down later. But the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase is going to open the entire thing. It's for an hour and a half. Live in the celebration stage, streams of both the Galaxy and Twin Sun stage. I'm just going to read the description here. Star Wars Celebration returns, launching with a must-see showcase that will kick the weekend's festives into hyperdrive. Lucasfilm's current crop of live-action filmmakers will be joined by special guests to discuss the many current and upcoming Star Wars adventures, including The Mandalorian, Andor, and more. You got the making of Andor later that day from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. You're going to have Tony Gilroy and Diego Luna there and a team of creatives. So that's going to be awesome to see too. Saturday's feature one is Ahsoka from 11 to 12, also on the celebration stage and stream the Galaxy and Twin Sun stage. You can join executive producers Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, both former guests of Coffee with Kenobi, and other special guests for a look at the upcoming Disney Plus series Ahsoka. That's great. Later that day at 12:30 on Twin Sun stage, our buddy Clayton Sandell is going to be hosting Bringing Worlds to Life, the concept artists of ILM. That's live on the Twin Sun stage. Clayton's going to be joined with Doug Chang and members of ILM, going behind the scenes, exploring what brings a director's vision to the silver screen, which is fantastic. Daniel says, yay, live streams. Yes, that is great news. Terry says, is there a cheat sheet showing which ones we can listen to online with times? Not that I've seen. in my experience, for previous celebrations, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the way it works is to kind of keep it special for the people there who are actually at the convention. Those things stream, I think they all stream together, but then there's like a delay when they show trailers and stuff, so they don't show the trailer in the live stream. You just catch it a little bit later. I think that's right. All right, what else do we have? From 1 to 2 on the Galaxy stage, you're going to have the High Republic, which is great. Authors and Lucasfilm editors are going to be there for an in-depth conversation. 2 o'clock to 3 is 40 Years of Return of the Jedi, which sounds pretty spectacular. You've got a Star Wars Hasbro and Indiana Jones panel. All kinds of great stuff. Then there's a 15th anniversary Clone Wars panel that night from 5:30 to 6:30 with Dave Filoni, Athena Portillo, Matt Wood, D. Bradley Baker, Ashley Eckstein, Matt Lanter, and James Arnold Taylor. That will be great to see. Blake says, I think this year's celebration will announce some of the biggest news we've heard since Celebration Chicago. The CWK show talking all about the news over the weekend would be a fun listen. Yes, it would. Josh is glad there's a live stream. I do have mild FOMO. Yes, fear of missing out. I understand. And Darren says that would be nice. Yes, it would. Then we've got, on Sunday, the main feature panel is Villains of the Sequel Trilogy. It's going to be Amy Radcliffe sitting down with Ian McDiarmid, who of course is Emperor Palpatine, Andy Serkis, who's Supreme Leader Snoke, and Gwendolyn Christie, who's Captain Phasma, discussing their villainous roles in the final chapter of the Skywalker saga. Really fantastic. Look back at Obi-Wan Kenobi, featuring Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Indira Varma, and Vivian Lyra Blair. That is going to be 1:30 to 2:30. That is also, let me double check, on Sunday. And then Monday, you've got a major one, which is, let me look here. You've got the Bad Batch from 11 to 12 o'clock. It's going to feature executive producer, supervising director Brad Rao, Jennifer Corbett, Athena Portillo, and D. Bradley Baker, of course, is everybody from the clones, and Michelle Ang Omega. There's a lot of other stuff there too. I'm not going to go through every single one, but I tried to hit some of the major highlights and certainly scrolling them for you now if you're watching the show live either on our Facebook page or on Coffee with Kenobi's YouTube channel, where you can find every CWK live on Tuesday nights. And of course, later you can watch it or listen on the audio feed too. Terry says, I thought I heard a couple would be live streamed, which Mary says last year they did not live stream the big main panel, but they did stream a lot of the other panels. And my guess is that's going to happen again, although I'm not 100% sure about that. You know, hopefully it all works out because, you know, there's going to be a lot of fun stuff there, and I know we all want to see it. So let's take a look at some of the merchandise that was announced this week for Mando Mania. A lot of really fun stuff. That is kind of a brief little snapshot of some of the fun things that were announced today. But let's take a little bit of a closer look, shall we? So first, what do we got? Let's take a look at this first one. Hasbro, of course, always has some great stuff for us. Come on, there you go. So here we go. We have got, this is the Vintage Collection. This is a Tusken Warrior. This is a great looking figure. 3.75 inch scale based on the character from the book of Boba Fett. Pre-orders are actually going to be March 15th, tomorrow, I think at 1 o'clock Central Time. So if you're interested in that amazing figure, that would be what I would do if I were you. Then look at this. This is the Tusken Chieftain. This is the Black Series figure. An absolutely spectacular figure with gorgeous robes and that the red, it's not piping, I don't know what it's called, but the red that kind of cascades over the rest of the figure itself. A truly wonderful sculpt. The Black Series, they always look great, but sometimes they look like beautiful maquettes or statues, and I feel like this Tusken Chieftain is an absolute stone cold stunner. Now, I found this to be really, really fun too. This is from the Mission Fleet. You've got the whole gang here, don't you? You've got Grogu, you've got Boba Fett, you've got Mandalorian, you've got Fennec Shand, you've got a Dark Trooper, and you've got a Stormtrooper recreating the second season of The Mandalorian, the 6th episode titled The Tragedy. That is actually episode 14, chapter 14. And there's the Seeing Stone right there too. So that's really fun for people to see, I think. Then we've got Enzo rings. I really like Enzo rings. I've got the original line. These are the Darksaber, Grogu, and the Mandalorian rings. Laser etched art on a premium silicone dual tone ring. Really, really beautiful looking. That Darksaber one is so cool. Mary says that's a fun set, referring to the set I just showed previously from the Mission Fleet. Yeah, it is really fun. A lot of great figures, a lot of bang for your buck. Now I found this really interesting. This is a new Lego. This is from the episode of The Mandalorian, The Mines of Mandalore, that we're going to talk about tonight. And this thing is called the Spider Tank. I did not know it was called the Spider Tank. I don't know that it was really out there, but now we know. What was in the depths of Mandalore? This creepy spider tank, and there's a great little Lego of it that comes with Grogu, the Mandalorian, and Bo-Katan herself. So that is really awesome. Then we've got, if you are a pop socket person, you got the pop out Grogu and pop out Mandalorian options for yourself. And those are fun. Those are cute. I'm not a pop socket person, but those that are, I'm sure will be all over this. And finally, we've got the Mandalorian socks by Rock'em Socks. The great ones of the Mythosaur, the Mandalorian, and some of his peers. And then a really cute Grogu that says, "I'm with Mando." I think I like that green one the best. I wonder what material it is, if it's like a tennis shoe sock or like a dress sock. I'm not sure. So there you have it. There's some news from this week, as well as some announcements about what's going on with Star Wars Celebration. Now, you are able to book. I can actually go back to this and show you, because I know you want to find out if you are going to be at Star Wars Celebration. You want to know how to be able to reserve your panels, because sometimes they can be very, very difficult to get into. Let me go back to the browser itself. There we go. Here's the information on that. Let's see. I'm just kind of scanning here. So you can go to StarWars.com, or there's also an email sent to many of you if you ordered your Star Wars Celebration tickets. But there's a link right here that I'm highlighting. Actually, it doesn't show that I'm highlighting it. It says click here to submit your panel requests. The panel selection will close on Tuesday, March 21st. So you've got a week from this CWK Live recording. You're eligible to enter the drawing for yourself and all additional tickets that you purchased on your original order. If you go through, it tells you how to do group submissions right there. If you want to start a new group, if you want to join an existing group. And the ones you can reserve are the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase, Friday, April 7th at 11. Ahsoka on Saturday, April 11th at 11. The Villains of the Sequel Trilogy on Sunday, April 9th. And finally, Star Wars The Bad Batch on Monday, April 10th. All those are 11 o'clock a.m. London time. Okay, and it does say right there, you're going to be selected at random. You may not submit interest in a specific stage. So they're basically just going to give you one, and hopefully it's one that you want, or hopefully you want to interested in. I actually like this. They've been doing this, since Celebration Chicago, and I feel like it always works really, really well. And I also feel like then it eliminates you waiting in line for so long and then being disappointed that you weren't able to see what you wanted to see. All right, that is a lot of news. That is a lot of news, but there's a lot of stuff going on in the world of Star Wars, isn't there? But here's what you came to see for the most excitement. I don't know if it's the most excitement, but I'm always excited about this because I like hearing what you all think and what you have to say about your top fives. So let's do it. Your top 5 moments from the Mines of Mandalore and the Outpost. Last week I think we started with Mando last week, didn't we? I honestly don't remember. A lot has happened in the past week. A lot has happened. So I'll let you vote here in the comment section. Should we start with the Mandalorians, the Mines of Mandalore, or would you like to start with the Outpost? I mean, there's no reason to rank them as far as which one is better, at least for me, from my certain point of view. But I thought the Outpost was one of the finest pieces of Star Wars storytelling that I've seen since Disney took over. It's terrific. Josh has got some cool news. He says, we will have a Star Wars panel at WonderCon focusing on the civil rights issues in Kenobi and Andor. Old Josh, that is absolutely fantastic, my friend. Congratulations to you. I wish I was a WonderCon so I could see it. Jason says Bad Batch. Terry says Mines. Josh says Bad Batch. Daniel says both were great. Ross says Bad Batch too. Well, you know what? Let's see. Looks like Bad Batch is going to win just by a small amount. Either way, we're going to get to them both. Oh, Blake says Bad Batch too. Well, okay. Okay. Well, let's just do it. Let's go into Bad Batch first. So get your top 5 list ready. We will start with the Bad Batches episode, The Outpass, and the Outpost. Mary also wants to start with Bad Batch first. Again, I think, and we talked about this a lot on Coffee with Kenobi last week, Blake and Mason and I all did one of the best episodes I think you will ever see of the Bad Batch. Crosshair, we get to see more of Crosshair in very, very different ways. Let's start with, I put Revenge of the Sith music. At the beginning of this, as soon as they leave the initial planet they're on, and they're heading to this outpost, they play music that's extraordinarily ominous and very much reminds me of the music we hear in Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3, when Anakin is going back and forth to the Jedi Temple, and things are about to change in his arc and for the rest of the galaxy. And we hear similar music here as Crosshair leaves too, which is pretty cool. Terry's number 5 is simply used equipment, which is what what is he? Is he an admiral? Yeah, Admiral Nolan. Is it Admiral Nolan or is he Captain? I can't remember. Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll talk about this Nolan fellow quite a bit. So that was what he says, referring to the clones. Jason's number 5. The long-range shot of the mountain and avalanche cloud at night, such a stunning visual. Yeah, the visuals on this continue to be extraordinary. Henrik's 5 is my experience. Respect is something to be earned, which is, of course, said by Mayday. That is a great call. It is Lieutenant. Okay, right on. Number 5 for Ross, another nightmare Imperial leader. Lieutenant Nolan enters the fray and voices his displeasure at used equipment. Yeah, he is so despicable. Thank you, Terry and Josh, for reminding me of Lieutenant. I appreciate that. Mary's 5 is the Ice Vultures and the ominous music from Kevin Kiner. All through the episode, the music is haunting and suspenseful. You are absolutely right about that. Daniel's 5, the whole recon mission to retrieve the cargo boxes, which is really awesome stuff. Josh says that a lieutenant's a low-ranking officer. Absolutely. Especially compared to a commander like Mayday is. 5 for Blake is Nolan. He was such a jerk and personifies the Empire perfectly. Yes, he does. He is like the gold standard of Imperial jerk faces. That is my official stance on Lieutenant Nolan. Okay, let's go to number 4. Crosshair's choice. I'm talking about the end of the episode now. I was tempted to put it earlier, but I figured some of you will, and that's great. We'll certainly hit it then as well. But I don't feel like this is when Crosshair completely changes. Well, I think this is like the exclamation point on the sentence that is his transition to realizing the Empire is not the path for him. And he punctuates that by executing Lieutenant Nolan. And it's very dramatic. And they do such a great job of making Lieutenant Nolan despicable. And then it happens. And it's a problematic scene for sure, but Crosshair is a very problematic character. But it's a very effective piece of narrative for sure. Number 4 for Terry, Commander Mayday's introduction. Oh, cool. I'm telling you, I think I should do cosplay for Commander Mayday. I'm thinking about it. Number 4 for Jason. We were good soldiers. We followed orders. And for what? Which is a great line. Henrik's number 4 is the snow planet itself. Yes, I like that planet too. I had it written down, then I got rid of my paper, and I don't remember what it is. Daniel's 4 is Lieutenant Nolan is another good villain to dislike in the series. Yes, he certainly is. 4 for Mary, Crosshair, trying to save Mayday, helping him out of the ice and snow. He doesn't leave Mayday behind. No, he does not. He is loyal. Josh would defend Crosshair, and I'm hoping that'll be a future episode of a live panel that you do, Josh. That would be cool. 4 for Ross. Commander Mayday, it's always great meeting a new clone. I know, and just when I meet a new clone, I was like, oh, this is my favorite one, but This is one of my favorite ones. Mayday's awesome. Daniel says thought Mayday was Dengar, which is what Blake said on Coffee with Kenobi this week, which is pretty funny. And I don't know if that's what you're referring to, Daniel. You just had the same thought as Blake. Either way, you're not wrong. 4 for Blake. The world building. He says, I like the fact we were on a remote outpost. I met a fellow Star Wars fan in Miami on Sunday who served in the United States military in Africa. There was nothing. Wow. The clones' lives reflect our own. Yes, sometimes they actually do, don't they? All right, let's go to number 3. Number 3, oh, unfortunately, it's the wrong... I didn't put the whole text in there, but you can see it. Mayday and Crosshair's banter, the scene where Crosshair steps on that pressure mine and that whole back and forth about, I hope I don't die on your watch. And then ironically, of course, it becomes a bit of a dramatic irony and foreshadowing. And here we go. Ben says, hey, everyone. Sorry I'm missing the week after 2 amazing episodes. I'm slammed with stuff. I'll catch with you all next week. No problem, Ben. We'll save you space, brother. Hope all is well with you. Number 3 for Darren is Crosshair's growth and what we hope will be his new understanding of his situation. Yeah, I hope that too. We'll see. Number 3 for Terry, ice vultures foreshadowing death and despair. Definitely. He very ominous thing with the vultures. 3 for Mary, Commander Mayday reminded me so much of Rex. Meeting him and the other 2 clones left at the outpost. Seeing the memorial they have made for their colleagues. Yeah, that was pretty powerful. Kind of a subtle thing, but it's very much there. And I like that, how they tell that story, and I think you'd agree. I hope you would agree, because I would like to think the way you do, Mary, because you're pretty smart. Jason's number 3, isolation. This episode on the solitary clone really portray where Crosshair is at this point in the overall narrative and his own personal journey. Henrik 3, if I don't hear a boom, then I'll know it worked. That is a great line. Good catch. That is, of course, from Mayday. 3 for Ross, another shout for the ice vultures. It's the opposite of watching the convoys circling in Clone Wars, but with such similar production and feel. Interesting juxtaposition there. I hadn't thought about the convoys. That's right on. 3 for Daniel, the mystery cargo boxes and the irony in the contents. Yes, there's a lot of irony in that. And we talked about that on the show, but it's very rich. And I think I could have spent just a whole show just talking about that. 3 for Blake is Mayday. Like I said on the weekly show, I love his character design and attitude. He reminds me of Hauser, which I'm probably spelling wrong. That was the name we couldn't remember last week. He's a clone I couldn't remember from our recording. Yes, as soon as we all disconnected, I looked it up and I'm like, oh yeah, it's Hauser, of course. Of course. All right, let's go to number 2. And for what? I'm guessing you know what I'm talking about here. And that is when Mayday has this realization. They find inside these cargo boxes are Stormtrooper armor. He's like, we fought a lot of battles. We were loyal. Good soldiers follow orders. And for what? It's when Mayday has his, I'm done with this. Is officially, I'm done with this situation. It's really good. Really, really powerful. Okay, let's see here. Oh, look at that. I'm just messing with my camera, as I do. I play around. All right, let's get back to this. Number 2 for... Oh, Aaron is here. What's up, Aaron? Good to see you, brother. Aaron says, hi, y'all. Sorry I'm late. This was my favorite episode of the season and one of the top episodes of the series. Me was the character of Nolan. They made you hate him so quick, which is fantastic writing. Yeah, it didn't take long, did it? And that performance is really good, too. Well, it's good to see you, Aaron, for sure. Number 2 for Terry. Lieutenant Nolan, the perfect villain we love to hate, reminds me of Alan Heston, the Believer, in Chapter 15 of The Mandalorian. Oh, yeah. I mean, they definitely go to the same school of not niceness, if we can coin an official term here on Coffee with Kenobi. Ross is number 2. Crosshair's facial expression the entire time he's rescuing and carrying Mayday. There's an absolute anguish we haven't seen from Crosshair before. I'm glad you brought that up, Ross, because not only is it showing on Crosshair's face, but the emotion through this 3D animation is really like they're telling a lot with facial expressions and his eyes. So much more than we're hearing from dialogue because he's silent, and it really comes through beautifully. Very impressive. Darren's 2 is Mayday was a well-crafted character, especially for only being seen in this one episode. I agree. He really was drawn out. He was there to do a job to make us angry and to unite Crosshair with the clones' plight, and mission accomplished. Mary's 2 is Crosshair walking up in Mount Tantus, a little concern for our friend. Yes. Yeah, it was very bleak for a while, wasn't it? Number 2 for Jason. Commander Mayday's resolve, confidence, and defiance. In my experience, respect is something to be earned. A great line. Henrik's 2 is a stormtrooper armor in the cargo crates. It was such a cool surprise. 2 for Blake is Nolan's death. The fact that his death hit us all the way it did shows they presented the character perfectly. Yes, absolutely. Daniel's 2 is Crosshair's turning point in his realization of where and what he has become. Expendable. Very well said, Daniel. And that's a long way from appreciating what Crosshair has to offer, too. Aaron's 2 is a relationship between Mayday and Crosshair. Mayday was able to get Crosshair to open up on ways we never saw before and probably never has. Yeah, you can tell he's very much out of his comfort zone, out of his element in so many ways. But now, it's time to give our number 1 from the Outpost. My number 1. Commander Mayday. I love this new character. He is very powerful. I always like when clones have beards. I just think that's fun. And I like that they continue to take clones and give them new characters and personalities and ways to make us appreciate them and love them. And then when you go to Order 66 and you see Order 66 and all the clones turning into monsters against their will, this just makes it more powerful. I love they continue to breathe life into these different clones. And Mayday's a great character. I love Mayday. So he had to be my number 1. I'm sorry he's not with us any longer, but he really did they did a fantastic job fleshing him out, as you all said. Number 1 for Darren is Nolan being eliminated. Yes. Number 1 for Dana, the introduction of yet another great clone commander, Mayday. I agree. Terry's 1 is people who learn life lessons while at the rock bottom learn them harder and better than most. Crosshair has forever changed and for the better we hope. Yes. Absolutely. The ending doesn't look very promising for him, but I know what you mean. 1 for Ross is the shot. And this isn't Jordan against Craig Elo, right? This is when Crosshair meets his breaking point, ends up with the cloners and a dead commanding officer. Yes. Number 1 for Jason, Crosshair rescuing Mayday from the avalanche and carrying him back to the Outpost. I love seeing him look beyond himself to the needs of others, even a reg. Oh, well said. Henrik's number 1 is simply Crosshair. Yeah, Crosshair's they tried a long time for me not to like him, but now I'm starting to appreciate him again. Number 1 for Mary, the growth of Crosshair's awareness of what is happening to the clones, how the Empire treats the clones. The interactions he has had with Cody and Mayday has truly opened Crosshair's eyes. Yes, definitely. Blake's 1 is everything of Crosshair. His depth is making him one of my favorite Star Wars characters ever. Wow, that's high praise. I'm glad. And Aaron's number 1. Crosshair holding the injured Mayday, in my opinion, is the turning point in Crosshair's journey back to Clone Force 99. Well, hey, from your mouth to God's ears, Aaron, I like that. Or I should say, in the context of this show, to Dave Filoni and Jennifer Corbett's ears, because they're the ones who are very much running that well. Yeah. So, pretty awesome. Well, thank you for that. But now, just when you thought one top 5 was just so great, how about we jump into another top 5? Let's jump into The Mandalorian, right? The Mandalorian second episode, The Mines of Mandalore. Quite a stunning episode. We get to see the Darksaber. We get to see a lot of Bo-Katan. We get to see a cool team up and a really creepy creature for sure. Mary says straight up murder of Nolan was definitely my honorable mention. Yeah, that's one that stands out, isn't it? All right, let's go to whoops, that's not Bad Batch. This is Bad Batch. Oh, I'm sorry, this is Mando. So 5 for me is the arrival on Mandalore. It was just something we've been waiting for so very long. And I thought, and I've said this on Coffee with Kenobi this week, I really thought And that was, of course, Jen Sopchakchai and Corey Clubb joined me, and they did a great job as well. But I really like when he's going to Mandalore. We're going to see it happen. I thought it was going to be towards the end of the season, but they give it to us in the second episode, and so many things happened that I did not expect would happen at all, or let alone in the second episode of the third season. So what a cool thing, and just him talking and explaining the plans to Grogu. It was just really fantastic. Really beautifully done, and I liked that it was kind of cold, and Mando's sort of out of his comfort zone too. Going to a place he's dreamed about his whole life, and it's just very cool. Very emotional. Jason's number 5 is Pelimoto, just Pelimoto. Nice. Very nice. Next 5 is the Scaredy Cat droid. Oh, that's fun. Are you talking about R5-D4? That's my guess. R5-D4, a classic character from the original trilogy. Aaron, can't say for the Mando top 5. Have fun, y'all. Can't wait to rewatch and see what everyone thinks. So, Mando, have a great night. Y'all are the best. Thank you, Aaron. Hey, appreciate you joining us, whether it's for 5 seconds or longer. It doesn't matter. I'm just happy to see you. So, thanks for joining us, Aaron. Appreciate it, buddy. 5 for Terry is teaching Grogu and Grogu learning. Oh, cool. Yeah, because there's both, right? There's both things that happen there. Daniel's 5 is this is the way moment in the minds when Din gave respect to Bo's father. That was cool. And it's someone that we haven't heard much about. That was cool. Mary's 5 is Din teaching Grogu how to navigate around the galaxy. Grogu was paying attention to his dad's instructions. Wasn't that so charming? I love that. Ross Pog Soup, what a great little detail of Mandalorian culture. Just a matter of time before there's a recipe of it online somewhere. Probably already is. Blake's 5 is the brief time on Tatooine. I'm one of those people who can't get enough of that planet. Blake, I'm the same way. Really enjoying the fireworks and the world building with the holiday they were partying at. That's right, Boonta Eve. So cool. Dan says, 10 credits to anyone who finds Pelly's tooth. Yeah, and in like her, the promotional picture this week of The Mandalorian with her big smile, that was pretty funny. All right, let's go to number 4. Number 4 for me, from the Mines of Mandalore, tour guide. So it was pretty cool that at the end of the episode, Bo-Katan is like, no, I'll take you. And Din Djarin is so taken aback. But I guess there's a couple of things. First with, we'll just stick with that. The 3 of them together at the end, although it was kind of brief, it was just kind of cool hearing her reflections. She actually reveals a lot about her family, about her planet, about her emotions, because Bo-Katan isn't someone that wears her heart on her sleeve. But it was almost like, like a garden hose. All of a sudden you turn it on and here comes her emotion just pouring out of her. Plus just the ominous excitement. If that's sort of a paradox, but I feel like it works here, of them slowly getting down to the mine, to living waters. Pretty neat. 4 is for Ross is the Terror of the Spider Tank. What a great villain. I hope there's eventually some backstory in that Grievous-esque monstrosity. Well said. That thing is pretty wild. Pretty creepy. Very vampiric. Terry's number 4 is Pelly's a hustler. I know, right? Working with the Jawas, no less. Number 4 for Jason, Grogu jumping and racing and talking, sort of. Henrik's 4 is Zoom, Grogu speed racing in his pram. Yeah, it's cool that he's able to work it too. 4 for Mary Tatooine, like Blake said, Boonta Eve. Pelly's scamming the Rodian. The Jawas and Din taking R5 gave a great levity to what ended up being a very emotional episode. Yes, absolutely. Well said. 4 for Daniel is Darksaber wielding Bo-Katan. Super cool stuff. Very cool. Blake's 4 is being back on Mandalore. Given the last time I saw that planet was during the Clone Wars finale, it was heartbreaking to see it in that condition. Oh, terrible. Absolutely terrible. The Empire goes out of the way to make things a lot worse than when they found it. Your parents tell you to leave things better than the way you found it or when you're a guest. The Empire did not get that memo, did they? All right, let's go to number 3. Grogu's rescue mission. This is when Mandalorian says, go get Bo-Katan. Grogu jumps in his pram. He leaves. He does a great Force moment. He's able to navigate back to Bo-Katan's planet, or the moon. And it's awesome. It's very, very cool. And it's short. Now, last year we never would have believed that would have worked, but now that Grogu has trained with Luke, he's had some time, he's been around the Mandalorian for a while. I'm glad to see it like that. I also think it's interesting that Grogu's species, probably their mind and their physical abilities, develop quicker than their language abilities as far as their verbal, and that's interesting. I don't know. It'd be cool to see what happens here. So that's number 3 for me. Let's see. What about everybody else? What does everybody else have for number 3? Every time we're talking about the Darksaber, I'm just so tempted to turn on the Darksaber because it's just got such a satisfying noise. You know what I mean? 3 for Ross. Bo-Katan expertly using the Darksaber to rescue Din. Part 1, her journey to understanding she can be the leader that is needed by uplifting a new leader of Mandalore. Maybe. Yes, maybe. Yeah, the way she uses that Darksaber is pretty sweet. Terry's 3. Seeing the ruins on Mandalore and trying to remember where they fit in on the Clone Wars. I know, I was kind of mapping that out myself. Daniel 3 is the crab spider cyborg. Totally thought it could be much like Grievous. Yeah, a lot of people felt that way, and I don't blame you. It very much has those echoes. Blake 3 is Bo-Katan. I've always been lukewarm to that character, but this episode really made me appreciate her more. That's fair. I'm still... she's a little above lukewarm for me, but I like the idea of Bo-Katan, and hopefully they flesh her out a bit more. But there's some interesting parts here. Number 3 for Jason, Bo-Katan's exposition about her past life. Now it shows the path to where she is in the present. And number 3 is Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan, a very cool character. The armor especially. I keep looking over at my retro figure of Bo-Katan while we're talking. 3 for Mary. The visuals of Mandalore were heartbreaking. Din fighting off the Elamites and that creepy spider-like mech. Yes, that spider droid. Spider droid. I was going to do a little song, but I won't do the song. I'll save that. I'll save that for another time. All right, let's go into number 2. Bo-Katan wields the Darksaber. All right, I'm going to get it. I just can't keep talking about the Darksaber because there's something very... If you have the Galaxy's Edge version, the Legacy lightsaber, it's just very satisfying. It's very heavy. Whenever I bring this thing to school after I've shown my students the episodes of The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett with the Darksaber, they go crazy. And it's really fun. I'm going to turn it on again. Because why not, right? All right, I guess I should remember I'm doing a live show and pay attention. But it's just very fun. It's just very fun. You know what I mean? All right. 2 for Blake. The growth of Grogu. He's gone from a helpless child to someone Mando entrusts with his life to an extent. I really like watching him being fleshed out. I do too. And I can't wait for more of it. Terry's 2 is Bo-Katan moving past family ceremonials and experiencing firsthand the meaning of Mandalorian lore. Oh, I like how you explained that. That's pretty cool. Jason's 2, Din treating Grogu as a capable companion, not a helpless creature. Very important. And Grogu proved his mettle by first falling the spider tank creature and then escaping to get Bo-Katan's help. Yes, excellent stuff. Next 2 is the symbol of the Mandalorians, right? That's right. I have a feeling I know where we're all going to be for number 1. Let's see, 2 for Mary. The walk and talk through Mandalore. Bo telling Grogu so much about Mandalore and her family. And when all 3 of them are together heading to the mines, she really gives Grogu and Din a better understanding of herself, her family, and Mandalore. Yes, well said. Number 2 for Daniel. Grogu and his Force using progression. So cute when he pointed to the screen and then looked at R5-D4. That was fun. Ross's 2 is Grogu becoming more active. He's still timid but learning to do important things, especially when it comes to rescuing Daddy Din. Daddy Din, I really like that alliteration there. That's awesome. Okay. Is this going to be... I got to get a drum roll for this. Is this going to be the first ever example of a CWK Live Top 5 where everybody has the exact same one? Let's see. Number 1 for me, I put I, and quote, see you. Yes, the I at the end of the Mythosaur. Boy, was that a shock. I talked about it on Coffee with Company. Everybody just went wild when that happened. I know I did, so that is definitely my number one. Let's see if everybody else feels the same way. Terry's number one is the Mythosaur. They actually went there. That's pretty much what I said too. One for Mary is the Mythosaur, of course. Darren's number one is a little bit different, and I like this. Bo-Katan's reaction to Din's actions. The whole story where Din believes in Mandalore. Now, Bo does not. By the end, when it appears that Bo-Katan's eyes might have been open to her own history, will she now keep her helmet on after entering the water? I know, and I talked about that too, so that's a good catch. Because when she comes out, she doesn't yank off her helmet right away. It'll be interesting. We'll probably find out really soon. Roston 1 is also the Mythosaur, and the living Mythosaur, and the gasp it causes Bo-Katan. The children's tales are here. Number 1 for Jason is Bo-Katan wielding the Darksaber, a true Mandalorian warrior. And Henrik's number 1 is Grogu's noises. They are adorable, aren't they? So cute. Blake's number 1 is the brief glimpse of the Mythosaur. Mythosaur, why am I saying it like that? It's like me going outside and seeing Bigfoot in my backyard, which I want to happen. Well, good luck with that. I have a feeling the creature will be featured in a mind-blowing moment in the future. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the future. We're not that far away. 1 for Daniel, the reveal of the Mythosaur and Bo's realization of what she saw. So we didn't all pick it, but that's okay. We all had very similar ideas about what we love, which is this great narrative and structurally what it's going to teach us about Bo-Katan, about Din Djarin, about Mandalorian culture, and what is going to happen with the Mythosaur and what kind of impact it's going to have on the Star Wars universe and the Mandalorian verse, which is not a real thing, but it just seems to kind of fit here. So cool. We made it. We made it through. My voice is still fine after all of these top 5s and all of your excellent comments and feedback. I so much appreciate that. Well, next week, we're going to look at Pabu, the new episode of The Bad Batch, and Chapter 19 of The Mandalorian. Very, very much looking forward to see what happens with the next episode of The Mandalorian. So cool. Jason would like to see the Bo-Katan. Henrik would like to see the Bo-Katan figure next to you, please. Okay. I can do that. I can absolutely do that. Let me grab it here. Now this is the vintage collection one. This is Bo-Katan. There's the back of the figure, and there is the front. This is the vintage collection one with her blasters. Pretty cool, huh? I'm a fan. It's a great looking figure. Again, that vintage collection very much shows you like they would look in 1977, 1978, 1979, 1980. You get the idea. But yeah, pretty cool. So there you go, Henrik. Ross says, and cheers, keeping your voice after cheering for all the Bears moves. Oh, I know. Boy, was I talking about that all weekend for sure. Oh, cool. No problem. Henrik, happy to show you, buddy. All right, let's jump into Ask Dan Z. All right, I repositioned the Darksaber, so it'll be much quicker to grab next time I just get that feeling that I gotta listen to that sound again. Mary wants to know if I made my decision about going to Celebration. So yeah and no. So I guess no. I mean, there's just a couple of things I can't talk about yet, but I'm optimistic. I am optimistic. How about that? What are the odds for a Bears-Dolphins Super Bowl? Probably not great, but I mean, Ross is an NFL expert for sure. I'm just a biased Bears fan. I don't know. It's too early to tell. I can't wait to see more free agency, but the Niners really made themselves a lot more potent, for sure. Blake, what's one trailer you want to see at Celebration that we haven't gotten yet from all the projects we know are coming? I'd like to see a full blown out Ahsoka trailer. I think that would be amazing. Totally amazing. Any idea how they created the sound for the Darksaber? No, that's a great question. That would be fun to ask David W. Collins or someone about that. Because I like when you turn off, it's got that little high-pitched flute sound or whatever it is that comes out at the end. Blake says, go Dolphins. I forgot you were a Dolphins fan. That makes sense since you're a Florida guy. All right, so speaking of Florida, look, I know I say it every week, but I'm going to keep saying it. MEI Mouse Fan Travel is the official travel partner of Coffee with Kenobi. I use them for all of my travel, not just for this amazing trip on the Galactic Star Cruiser. I've been told that your window is getting very, very small. If you're considering joining us still, there's a little bit of time, but literally not very much time at all. It's June 12th to the 14th. Join me, Corey Clubb, Tom Gross, Mason Zaire, and a number of other of our friends to join me on the Galactic Star Cruiser. Limited rooms available, very limited rooms available. You can go to coffeewithkenobi.com/mousefantravel, not only to book this, but any other vacation you have. And when you do, you'll get top-notch, state-of-the-art service from amazing, friendly people. Plus, you help out Coffee with Kenobi as well. Mary and Terry are joining us, and they both have already paid off their trips, which is fabulous. So fabulous. Can't wait to hang out with all of you. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Blake says, love you, Dan, and my CWK family. Keep all my stars fire alive and alive. Hey, Blake, happy to do it, brother. Appreciate you being on. Ross is closing with how Mary started. Happy Bad Batch and Mando Eve friends. Thanks, Dan. Thank you, Ross. Hope you had a great little vacation, and looking forward to catching up with you. Looking forward to catching up with all of you next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be watching and talking about Star Wars The Bad Batch and The Mandalorian. Jason, have a great week. Wonderful to be with you all night. Thank you, Jason Henry, for joining me and all of our friends here. Terry says, watch new episodes early tomorrow to avoid spoilers. That's right, and you can be assured that on CWK's Cafe, I'll have a spot for you to make comments that are spoiler-free. And whenever I see anything that's even remotely spoiler-free, I delete it. It's no offense, but I want everybody to be able to enjoy the show fresh, and that's what we're going to do. Daniel, may the force be with you. Mary, have a great week. And Darren, thank you for joining us. Thanks again to all of you, whether you join me here live on Facebook or on our YouTube channel, or you're listening to the audio on the podcast feed. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you for being such a great part of the Star Wars community. I will see you next time. Remember, this is the live Star Wars podcast you're looking for. See you soon.